Live from Town Square Towers at the heart of the Jersey Shore. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Get up, get out, do something. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. It's 6:08, Friday, July 29, 75 degrees. Getting up to 80 today and raining. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pop app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160. We are now joined in studio by Marlen Kroll. So, sometimes life hands you lemons and you have to go ahead and make lemonade, right? And this is not a lemonade day thing. But good morning, Marlen. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. Good. I'm doing well, thanks.
So let's just make sure, in the spirit of full wake up with Jeremy Grunin transparency, right? Let's just throw it all out there, right? Let's put it out on the table. So, Marlen, you are a volunteer with the Monmouth County SPCA.
Yes, I am.
Right,
yep.
Which is great. And you've been volunteering for them for how long?
2.5 months.
Perfect. And Marlen is really the perfect complimentary guest to the professional for the Monmouth County SPCA, who can give you all the background, the data, the numbers, how many dogs, how many animals, how many adoptions, how horrible, life is for animals outside of, natural rescue situations, etc. And then Marlen could jump in and say, yeah, and that's why I love to volunteer and be a part of this, because I have a full-time job where I put bread on, my family's plates. The problem is sometimes weather holds up the professional, and so it's Marlen and I. We're talking SPCA. So there you go. It's all out there. Here we go. You ready, Marlen?
I'm ready.
All right. So first of all, tell everybody what you do for a living when you're not with the animals.
Jeremy, I work for Design Floors in Long Branch, New Jersey, and I'm a salesperson and an executive account manager. My company supplies and installs hardwood, carpet, tile, stone to all the building industry, including retail, residential, multifamily, and commercial.
Very cool. All right, good. So you're a sales guy, and which I respect, having done 20 years of sales myself in various industries, mostly electronics and health clubs. I know. Anyway, so how did you decide that you wanted to get involved with the SPCA?
This was pretty easy for me because I just absolutely love dogs, Jeremy. I always had dogs in my house growing up, and I lived in a couple different states. And back when I was in college at the University of Florida, I had been asked to be part of a program called the Impact Program, which is the inmates providing animal care and training. So I ended up directing that program after a friend left and went on to do something else. So basically, I took the guidelines of the Guide Dog Institute and trained the inmates to train the dogs, and they would care and handle the dogs. I always considered it a new leash on life. It was a really, really cool thing to do only at 22 years old. And I was also at the time, matter of fact, training for the Olympic trials for Australia in track and field and the discus throw. So I was just a young guy doing what I thought was really cool things.
Okay, wait a second. There's a lot of things here that we have to break down. Okay, here we go. First of all, you did say a new leash on life. That was intentional, right?
That's intentional.
Okay, so you see what you did there. You went from lease on life to leash on life. That was good. Okay. Number 2, I did note when you first walked in that there was a strong Australian accent. So explain that to me.
I was training for in 1999 when I took over as a coordinator and director of the Impact Program in Gainesville, Florida. I was going into training for the Olympic trials in the discus throw.
Wait, you're Australian though?
I'm not Australian. I was going to go to.
You were going to go to Australia. I'm okay.
I was planning on going to Australia on the Olympic team.
Zach,
and unfortunately,
did I mishear that?
You did a little bit.
I did mishear that?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Although
okay.
I was kind of confused too.
I was like, wait, you're not Australian, dude. I mean, there's no strip on the Barbie over here.
No.
So you're a discus thrower.
I was, yeah.
Okay. And what happened?
I trained very, very hard, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out. Yeah. And I didn't get to the trials out in Colorado Springs, but it was, a couple years of my life that was just unforgettable. So
cool. Yeah, that's cool. So you did this program, and this was for inmates. You're saying
I work with 6 prisoners. Each one of them had their own dogs for the entire 3 months of a summer.
Right.
It was obviously very hot and humid down there.
Right.
These guys did some, pretty bad things, the advocacy for the state to allow to be funded to allow these guys to get better themselves, and it was such a privilege and honor to be part of that
That's
program
very cool.
at a really at a young age in school.
Cool.
So my love for animals and dogs has always been with me, and I actually. A very interesting thing is at the end of it, the state decided to not fund the program, and it started to close up. And one of the dogs that was very attached to me, Mickey, went off to Palmetto, Florida, where she was born. Okay, and then she went into the professional training to go with a blind person within that year, and she didn't make the program. So I got word that the prisoners met with their own warden.
Right.
Okay, it's a true story. And they got together, wrote a letter to the different associations, and said that I have this, first shot at adopting her. She was a golden retriever Labrador mix, and I did.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
that was a great time in my life.
Cool. All right. So now fast forward, and here we are at the Monmouth County SPCA, and so what does volunteering for the SPCA kind of look like? What is it that you do when you're working with them? What does that time look like?
The time is you try to make your own time for it. Normally, I get there in the late afternoons. At night, since they do have a satellite store location at the Freehold Raceway Mall, so at night times, if there's puppies, I always call ahead and I speak to the manager, Candy, to see if there's any puppies available, and I go into their small digs area and we just socialize them. They're probably coming out of Puerto Rico, or they're coming out from the southeastern United States, and they just need the help there, and it just helps them to continue adopting in the store. At the main facility in Eatontown, New Jersey, they have a lot more older dogs that need to be adopted, so I'll just basically take them out and socialize them inside their where they stay, which is the digs.
Right.
And I put in quite a number of hours a week. Also, helping out with fundraising.
What does it mean? What does that mean? Socialize them.
Socialize means you from a human to a dog that is astray, surrendered, abused, not knowing its past. You just naturally want to bond with them, and they so much want your affection.
Okay.
I mean, if they're jumping on the doors or the glass in their kennel, their dig. They want attention. They are not aggressive. They
Right.
just want to be held and walked and played with, and they all really need a home.
So when you say socialize, you're saying that they're inherently, and again, I'm ignorant on this, so I'm asking out of complete ignorance. Well, come on now. You're way too big to be judging me like that because it scares me a little bit. All right.
Sorry, well, I'm Australian.
So they have a fear, kind of an inherent fear of humans, right?
They certainly do. I mean, you could see it in their eyes and their skin and their tail. I mean, you can just see how they'll react to you. Some dogs last night when I was walking there and took some pictures with them, through the little peepholes, one dog just was like wanting me to scratch its ear and its head,
Right.
and it was just didn't make a sound. I mean, some of them are just always barking. It's very, very, very stressful environment for them to be in.
Okay.
For when they're there.
Well, Marlen Kroll, this is a volunteer for the Monmouth County SPCA, and really kind of teaching me some stuff because I'm not, as all of our listeners know, animals are not necessarily deep in my brain waves, so I have to learn. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the difference between going through a rescue situation versus going through, PetSmart, right? Because I know that you've heard a lot about that over the years, and so I'd like to talk about that. Marlen Kroll at Monmouth County SPCA. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
Stay tuned for Preferred Company with Joel Markell and Marianne Levy at 8. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin continues next. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Now, back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We're here with Marlen Kroll. We were talking Monmouth County SPCA, right? And so we were talking a little bit about the difference between, working through a shelter and through a rescue versus versus a pet store. So what's the difference? I mean, you hear a lot about it. What's the difference?
The difference is when you go into a pet store, unfortunately, there are going to be just a lot of dogs coming out of puppy mills from the Atlantic states, and you have to be very careful about that. It is a business; it's all about the money with that, and you really respectfully for them. You don't know exactly what you're always getting. It's probably not the best thing to do. I advise that in the adoption process, go into the Monmouth County SPCA protocol, whether at the mall for the puppies or visiting at the Eatontown shelter with the larger, older dogs. It's a much greater experience. It's going to cost you a lot less. They're all ready. They're spayed. They're neutered. They have all their medicals updated.
Right.
And you are going home with somebody that they know that you can trust and work with. I mean, it's a huge, huge difference.
Right. What was kind of your moment where you said, this is kind of what I want to do. Like, I really want to dig in and I really want to help with animals.
Back on May 12th, I had my official orientation with the Monmouth County SPCA, and that just kind of started everything in terms of introducing myself to Barbara, who's the director of development there. And I just remember that when she spoke at our orientation, her voice and her ideas really resonated with me. And without her getting the funds that she needed, it would not be, it's not good for me to be able to, help and socialize and walk the dogs.
Right.
At that moment or that weekend, I didn't realize that fundraising and outreach programs and pet therapy were something that I would be getting into so quickly. But because of her and her talents and her will, she's such an amazing person. It was so easy for me to dive right into that part of volunteering for them.
Cool. So why don't you give me an example? What are some of the things that you guys have been doing to raise money recently?
So recently, we just came off of 2 really great back-to-back events. One was last Thursday night. The Shore Builders Association of Central New Jersey had their huge 450-person attended Martell's Tiki Night. That allowed us to raise $1,300 in cash, and we brought in 928 single donated items in 3 hours, which was just phenomenal. And the next night, I did organize at the House of Independence Theater in Asbury Park. A couple hundred people attended. All of the proceeds went to the Monmouth County SPCA. There was a silent auction. And recently, Barbara and I headed up a program that I called the Puppy Power Project, where we got funding for the rescue box truck at the Eatontown facility. And we pulled in enough money to get him a generator and a heating and cooling system on top. So when they do the rescue missions down south, they're going to be a lot more safe and comfortable. So that was a first for them, and I'm really, really proud of those 3 events.
Wow. So you said in the last 2 months you've put in 50 hours of volunteering.
A good 50 hours of volunteering.
And you were saying to me in the break, you kind of find it to be therapeutic on its own level for you, right? Like you you walk into the mall or you walk into the facility and you say hi to everybody that you know, and they're just easygoing. They work so hard. And they just love that you're there because they're so inundated coming off of this Howell, rescue with so many dogs that they're trying to help out. So it's really a very therapeutic thing for me personally. Yeah, I love it. Right. Well, listen, I think the more you talk about it, it sounds better to me than having to go to the gym. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, and I do that too. I say we should bring the dogs to the gym.
Yeah, you
we should have a dog gym.
You're right. How about that? Why can't they? You probably have an idea about that.
Of course.
You're probably working on that. So when we come back, we are, we've built her up. So, when we come back, we're going to have Barbara Lavelle Napoli with us, who's the Director of Development for the Monmouth County SPCA. We're going to give you both your magic wand. We're going to talk a little more about fundraising that's coming up and how everyone that's listening can also be inspired the same way that you have been over the last few months. So
absolutely.
It's really exciting. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, talking to Marlen Kroll, sales executive, sells flooring, but that's not really what he's about. Right, I'm
more than that. Jeremy.
So much more going on. And we haven't even really talked that much about the Australian Olympic team. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 6:34 Friday, July 29th. 70 down. You know they can hear you when you talk in the middle. Sorry. 75 degrees, getting up to 80. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app at WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join our conversation. And we have our newest participant in the conversation, Barbara Lavelle Napoli. Right, that's a nice Irish name. And she's joining myself and Marlen Kroll. We're talking Monmouth County SPCA. And weather was tough this morning, right? Weather was tough. All right, we'll give it to you.
Apologize for the delay.
It's no worries. It's no worries. I mean, Marlen was, he said, he was pretty happy about that. No, I'm joking. So let's talk a little bit. Give me some of the data points now. So how many animals do you guys deal with? What does all that look like?
Well, for instance, last year, nearly 5,000 animals came through the Monmouth County SPCA. And, for an open admission shelter, which means we do not turn animals away. We never euthanize for space. That can sometimes mean some pretty crowded conditions. Many people in the news recently have heard about the howl hoarding case. That kind of opened up the floodgates for people to realize, there's something going on in my neighborhood that maybe I can get involved in to make sure animals are safe. So we've been involved in a number of hoarding cases where we've rescued animals and brought them in to get them healthy and adopted out. We've been involved in a nationwide dogfighting ring where we were able to break up part of that and actually were able to take the most amount of dogs in the entire operation out of a home in Asbury Park.
Oh, I thought they were Michael Vick's dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, stop.
They very well could have
Don't
been.
even go there.
They were on their way for a really sad future and
Right.
probably one that would not be too long. So we're very proud of our law enforcement officers. They're out there. And a lot of people don't realize that the Monmouth County SPCA is really the only law enforcement arm in Monmouth County to help with cruelty investigations, hoarding situations. So we are always called in, and our guys are always busy. And right now we are operating at maximum capacity because of all of the cases that have come in.
Right.
When we will never turn an animal away. If a cat came to our door as I arrived back at the office today, of course we would find a place for it. But we're stretched. We're stretched thin right now.
So, as the director of development for the Monmouth County SPCA, that's usually where we segue into the point that says, and all of this costs money for us to make sure that we can stretch ourselves beyond capacity or even maintain capacity where we currently are. So why don't we've talked a little bit about some of the events that we just came off of, whether it's the Shore Builders event. Mm-hmm. I know we have an ongoing car show, right? It's like, did I make that one up? What was the one I saw cruising for?
The BMW?
Yeah, the BMW, Drive for a Cause.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Circle BMW.
All right, see, I had one.
Town.
I had one there. I wasn't completely off base.
Very lucky to be partnering with them,
Right.
and they will donate $25 for every person who comes in
and does a test drive.
Yes.
Right.
So who doesn't want to do that?
Yes, think about that. You go drive an expensive the SPCA gets $25. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad deal. All right. So what do we have on the horizon? What kind of new exciting programs are we working on that are gonna make a difference?
Well, certainly for fundraising, our largest fundraising event of the year is our Fur Ball Gala that will be held in Asbury Park at the Berkeley this year on October 22nd. That's always a really fun night, and dancing, auctions. We are honoring two of the founders of Red Bank Veterinary Hospital this year, two extremely dedicated men who have really furthered our mission and helped us through the years. So that is something, October 22nd, that people can certainly get information on our website for. Ongoing, we do a very strong mail appeal, and we have some very dedicated donors who follow that for us. One misnomer that I'd love to clear up is that we are not affiliated with the ASPCA.
Okay.
We are not a nationwide organization like them. We do not get funding from them, and really rely on private donations here in Monmouth County.
So that's interesting. You do a mail appeal. You don't take money from women?
Oh, that was good.
See what I
Well,
did
we
there?
could talk about the average donor in each household is usually women.
Right. Well, that's why I was confused. I mean, I understand why you're trying to,
And I see you're running a check out right there
Yeah,
for
right.
us.
No,
we talked about that before
Certainly
during the
males
break.
are welcome to
We'll get into that,
sharpen their
Barbara.
pencils.
Listen, Marlon's already been pitching me.
I'm already pitching.
He's got
Marlen,
this.
Marlen, aside from being a wonderful volunteer with our animals, happens to be a consummate fundraiser.
Yeah, so Marlon's got the Glengarry Glen Ross thing.
Yes,
going
I
on,
do.
which
I
is
got that chalkboard.
Always be closing.
Always close the deal.
ABC,
That's
always
it.
be closing.
That's
Yeah.
it.
The hallmark of a good salesperson.
That's right. That's
and a
right.
good fundraiser.
So I think we are actually coming up against a break. So I think we're going to take that break. But when we get back, we would like to give you both your magic wand, your pixie dust, your fairy dust, your ability to wiggle your nose and make a difference in the world. I'm going to go out on a limb. And say it might have something to do with animals. I'm just guessing. Zach, this is me taking just a dartboard guess here. And then we'll kind of wrap up with contact information with how people can learn more. Barbara Lavelle Napoli, Marlen Kroll, Monmouth County SPCA. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin wherever you go. Download the Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We are here with Barbara Lavelle Napoli, Marlen Kroll, and we are talking about the Monmouth County SPCA, not to be confused with the ASPCA. Completely different. We learned that in the last segment. Completely different. All right, it's that time. We give you the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability to wiggle your nose and make an impact, to make something happen. Marlen is waving Barbara on to go first.
Get into this already.
Because obviously Marlen wants to finish with a flurry because he's got something.
Oh, I got a flurry,
It's
man.
all
That
planned
good.
out. It's all choreographed.
It's a tornado.
But I just want you to know it's still my show and I get to choose who goes first. And,
All right, spin the wheel. Let's spin the wheel.
All right, we're gonna see who goes first. And since you're way bigger than me, Barbara, what do you have? Go ahead.
My magic wand would remove blinders from people who have just the stereotypical thought that a shelter dog is a mutt or somebody who needs a lot of attention. And yeah, sometimes they are. But we participate in some phenomenal rescue programs. We work with the public if they need surrenders. So many of our dogs are really wonderful mixes and purebreds and animals that people might find should they choose to go buy an animal, which of course we never suggest that they do. So my magic wand would remove any sort of thought that shelter dogs are not something that you'd be proud to walk down the street with. They give you a lot of love, and we've got them.
Right, like I say, shelter dogs are people too.
Yes.
Right. It doesn't make any sense, but I say it all the time. Marlen, what do you have?
You know, I love what Barbara just said.
All right, so we're good then.
We're
Moving
good.
right along.
We're all good.
He's rough.
Go ahead, Marlen. What do you have?
My magic wand just would be, it would be just to let other people know how great it is, to see what you're dealing with and to see the love that these dogs and these cats have for people, and just to open up your heart and your mind to what they can offer. Like she was saying, it's not a typical place, Freehold or Eatontown. They're amazing facilities, amazing people. And they're the ones, really. I mean, in my opinion, they're the ones with the magic wands that help to make everything happen. So that's and the more that we do, the better off all the animals will be in this welfare system.
Absolutely.
So we all just gotta get out there and volunteer and help and donate and there's going to be great, amazing, positive changes coming very, very soon.
Yeah. So tell me. Okay. So I'm going to blow up your spot a little bit now because we were talking. When when we talk in the break, it doesn't mean that you get like immunity, and I
That's okay.
I can't bring it up later.
I'm walking the plank. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you were talking about something on the horizon, possibly with a therapy dog type program. So do you want to talk for a second about what that might look like?
We're very proud of the pet therapy program that we have now, but Marlen and I, because it is a program that really captures our imaginations, and we see the real potential to not only help our animals, but residents of Monmouth County all over the place who have disabilities or are disadvantaged or are suffering trauma. So that is certainly an area that the Monmouth County SPCA and our number one volunteer would like to concentrate on, because I think we can have a lot of great effect.
Cool. Do you have like a volunteer leaderboard? I mean, like he's number one. Can you speak to?
Yeah, where do you put the other 597?
And how many of them do you tell they're number one when they're sitting next to you? Is that?
Well,
I
I just wrote a note to a husband and wife team, Peggy and Jeff. I'll give them a shout out right now.
Are they both in the top 5?
Well, I just got wiped out. And I bet you I weigh more than them combined.
Yeah, that's right.
This is wrong.
Competition between volunteers, donors, and
bring
everyone.
Bring it on.
In all seriousness, though, Marlen and I were talking about the therapy dog program. I know we do a lot of work with Caregiver Volunteers of Central Jersey, which is a great organization that works with the elderly who don't have anybody to kind of help them do some of the basic things. And one of their great programs is a Caregiver Canine program, which brings dogs into the elderly's homes, once a week or so, and just kind of really kind of helps lift their spirits and kind of change their attitudes. And it's been an incredibly successful program for them. So big fan of therapy dog programs and things like that. So very cool.
Oh, good. We'll definitely call on you.
See, I was afraid that I was going to say that and that was going to work out badly. So, Barbara, on that note, why don't you give us the information on where people could learn more? I need like your website, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Tinder. Go ahead.
There will be no Tinder for our dogs. We're all about spay and
They
neuter
probably have their own,
keeping the
They might have
population
their own
down.
they're already
secret.
spayed and
Well,
neutered.
that's why they have the Secret Life of Pets, because
Right.
that's where you get it.
Exactly.
People can visit us on our website, first and foremost, at www.monmouth County, that is spelled out, monmouthcountyspca.org. Certainly should follow us on Facebook. We have a very talented media coordinator who posts. We do canine camp, live canine cams, kitten cams. People follow our dogs and cats and exotics. We have many other animals than just dogs and cats at the SPCA. So you can certainly follow us on Facebook as well.
Cool. Marlen, thank you so much. You did. You know what? You completely solidified yourself as the number one volunteer for
Thank
the
you,
Monmouth
sir.
County SPCA.
I'm trying hard.
I'm sure the Australian discus team would be proud.
I'm going to
have
go
you.
back there. I'm going to go back
they'd
and
be
start
proud
training
I mean,
next
those
weekend.
guys. Most of those guys are pretty small, so I think you have a
I
really
think I'm
going to
be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to work on your accent a little bit, but other than that, I think you got this. But really, thank you for this show. The tagline for this show is "Get up, get out, and do something," because it's not just about interesting people doing interesting things. It's about people who are getting up and making a difference in the world, and especially those who are doing it in a altruistic way where they're not getting paid. They're not getting, it's not about the publicity. It's not about it's not about any recognition. It's about just doing the right thing because the right thing is the right thing to do, right? So thank you so much. Did you want to finish with something?
I just one of my favorite quotes, Jeremy, that I shared with Barbara a couple weeks ago, that resides so deeply in my soul and my heart for what I do with these dogs. And you know what? It just feels like when you walk them in the digs and you let yourself go, there's just like an engagement of two souls that when your eyes meet. And I feel like at that point, that's when you feel like you're the rescued one. And then the quote that always resounds in me is, saving one dog will not change the world, but surely for that one dog, the world will change forever. Wow. So you got to get out there and help and do as much as you can because it's just so important right now.
Well, on that note, we will end. Thank you, Barbara Lavelle-Napoli. Thank you, Marlen Kroll, for all you're doing for the animals and for the communities in Monmouth County. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We'll be back right after this.